Hello Shefun lovers. Today we are going to be drafting the pattern for this very beautiful print of shoulder princess bustier. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, like, comment and share with your friends. Without wasting your time, let's get into the video. To draft the off-shoulder princess bustier, I've gone ahead to fold my pattern paper into two, so it's on a fold, and I've also just drawn a line to serve as my shoulder line and base line. From that point, I'm just going to take my tape up by 5 inches. That 5 inches is because an off shoulder, and I'm just going to mark my waist point, which is 18. So after marking my waist point, now I'm just going to connect those lines together. Next, I'm going to mark my bust points. Note that my shoulder line has 5 inches there, 5 inches mark. So my bust point is 10 inches. So I'm just going to mark that. So whenever I'm taking all my length measurement, I would ensure that I have 5 inches on my shoulder point. For my chest line, I'm just going to divide my bust measurement into 6 and add 1.5. I got 7.5 there. So I'll just mark that point and then mark my under bust measurement. Just went 2 inches from my bust line and got my under bust line. So I'm just going to connect those lines together. So I'm just indicating chest line, bust line, under bust line, my waistline and my shoulder. So that point serves as my center front. So for my center front, I'll just take my dart measurements. My dart is my nipple to nipple is 8 inches divided by 2, that's 4, but I'm going to add half an inch. I'm going to add half an inch for seam allowance, and I'll just connect all the way to my bust line. All the way to my bust line, I'm just going to connect those points together. Next, now the point facing the center front, the area facing the center front, I'm just going to go in by 0.5 inches, and I'll to my under bust line, and I'll connect that line, and then the part to the side seam, I'm going to make it 1.5 inches from my waistline to my under bust line, just like you can see me do, and I connect the line together. From my bust line, I'll just come down by 1 inch, and then I'll use my curve rule to just create a curve line at that point. Next, now I'm just going to mark my shoulder measurement on my shoulder line and my chest line and just connect that line. That line is important though, but to leave that. Then I'm going to mark my neck width, my neck measurement. So I'm just going to come up from my chest line by half an inch and then use my curve rule like so. As you can, I use the French curve part of my curve rule to get the curve I desired, and I connected those points together because I also want a sweetheart neck for this outfit. So on my chest line, I'm just going to mark my bust measurement divided by 4. So whatever your bust measurement divided by 4 is, and I'm just going to use my curve rule to connect those points together. Next, now I'm going to go up by half an inch from my bust line. I'm going to go up by half an inch. Then I'm just going to measure the length of that armhole curve. I got 5 divided by 2. That's 2.5. I just marked that point there. So I'm going to just connect this point to the point above the bust line. So I'm going to take half an inch from that point, just like you can see me do, and I'll connect it to that point I made the new bust line above the previous bust line. So I'll come up here by, I feel you should skip this measurement for now, because at the end of the day we used the last point as our new line. But then I took 1 inch from my shoulder points there from my bust line and connected it to the top. You see why I said I should skip this point, because we're going to do it again. Then in my chest line, I'm just going to add 2 inches. I'm going to add 2 inches of my chest measurements, now my upper bust measurement into 2 and add 2 inches. Then for my bust line, I'll do the same thing. Then for my waist, I'll just divide my waist into 4. Please take in my the dart measurement and then add my 2 inches, and I'll connect this point together. Please, for the chest line, I took a measurement. I measured my upper bust measurements to get my chest line. I didn't just put any mark there, please note that. So like I said, now this is what I was saying. I used that last point. I came up by 1 inch, at that last point. So is this point we are going to use, and we're not going to use the former one, and I'll connect it to the shoulder points, the new point we have there, just like you can see me. I just hope you understand. Please, if you don't understand, please let me know in the comment section. I would explain this better, but it's just self-explanatory, like as you can see. Okay, so next now I'm just going to mark out the point I'm not going to be needing for this tutorial, for this pattern rather. So just watch me cut. I think watching me cut would make it easy so you don't make any mistake. So I'm just cutting on that line, cutting on the line. So I'm taking that the first line now, not the one in the middle, so this is me just cutting out one piece. And for the second piece, you can see my pattern paper was on fold, so that's why we have 2 pieces there. So connect that line to my shoulder, to the new shoulder line I have made there. So we don't need this piece now, this small piece that I'm cutting out, we don't need it. Just going to throw that away. And the last one, not the one in the middle, the last one we just made is what we are going to use, just as you can see. So guys, this is how the front pattern looks like. Now we are going to go to the back. Now for the back, I've gone ahead to mark out all my measurements like we did for the front, and I've also given 2 inches allowance for the zipper allowance. I'll go ahead and mark all my measurements, my chest line plus 2 inches for seam allowance and body allowance, as well as my waist, and 2 inches for allowance. I'll also go ahead now and mark my darts. My darts is just 4.5 all the way to my bust line, and I'll connect that point. Now I will just take my 1/2 inch, my 1 inch seam allowance. I took 1/2 inch from both sides like so, and I'll just connect it to my bust line. Now that 1 inch I remove from there, now I'll just add it to my waist point, and I'll connect those lines together, just as you can see. So next now we are going to go to the neck. I'm just going to go in by 4 inches and come down by 1 inch. My depth is 1 inch and my width is 4 inches, and I'll just make a curve. Then I just mark my shoulder points, fold it down, and then now I'm just going to get that curve, not to the shoulder point please, to the point of the chest line, the chest point that we've made earlier, the first one. Then I'll extend that point down there, and then I'll just go in by 1/2 inch from my waistline, just as you can see me. I'm also going to extend my neckline, just as you can see me do, and I'll connect it to the nape of the neckline. This is just to give the back a curve, because you know our back has this deep point, so that it doesn't bulge. So now I'm just going to cut out this pattern. So this is how to draft an off-shoulder princess bustier. For the cutting, we'll cut it in our next video. You'd see me use it for another outfit. So for this back, we're going to cut 2 pieces for this back. Then for the front, you're going to cut your front on fold. This is one part. You're going to cut this part on fold. You're going to cut it on fold. Make sure your fabric is on fold when you cut this, and this one you're just going to cut it 1 piece each. So guys, we've come to the end of this video. Please, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.